Right then, team. Imagine our incredible planet, a massive sphere spinning in space. It's teeming with jungles, deserts, oceans, and mountains. But how do we pinpoint one exact spot on this giant ball? How could I tell you where to find a rare caiman in the Amazon, or the location of a hidden cave system in Borneo? We use a special kind of address book, an invisible grid that wraps around the entire Earth. This system is made up of two sets of lines, latitude and longitude. Together, they create a coordinate system, like a giant piece of graph paper laid over the globe, allowing us to find any location with incredible precision. It's the ultimate tool for explorers, sailors, and scientists. These lines aren't just random marks. They are a brilliant system of measurement. Think of it like this. If you wanted to meet a friend in a huge field, you couldn't just say, "Meet me in the middle." It's too vague. But if you said, "Go 10 steps north and then 5 steps east," they could find you exactly. Latitude and longitude work in the same way, but on a global scale. They give us two simple numbers that act as a unique address for every single point on Earth. From the highest peak of Mount Everest to the deepest trench in the Pacific Ocean, every spot has its own unique set of coordinates. It's a beautifully simple idea that changed exploration forever. This grid system is absolutely essential for any expedition, whether you're trekking through dense rainforest or navigating the open sea. Before we had GPS and satellites, explorers relied entirely on maps, a compass, and the stars to figure out their latitude and longitude. Getting it wrong could mean being lost for weeks or even months, facing dangerous conditions and running out of supplies. Understanding this grid wasn't just a skill, it was a matter of survival. It allowed ancient mariners to cross vast oceans and mapmakers to create the first detailed charts of our world, piecing together the puzzle of our planet one coordinate at a time. So whenever you look at a map or a globe, take a moment to appreciate these crisscrossing lines. They represent centuries of adventure, science, and discovery. They are the language of location, a universal code that helps us understand and navigate our world. In our adventures, we're going to break down this code, looking at latitude first, and then longitude. By the end, you'll be able to read a map like a seasoned explorer and understand the very system that guides us across this wild and wonderful planet. Get ready, because mastering this grid is your first step to becoming a true global adventurer. Let's get stuck into latitude first. Imagine a giant belt tied around the middle of the Earth. We call this imaginary line the equator. It's our starting point, our ground zero, and it sits at 0 degrees latitude. Now think of latitude lines as rungs on a giant ladder. As you climb north from the equator towards the North Pole, the numbers get higher. As you climb south towards the South Pole, the numbers also get higher. These lines, also called parallels, run east to west, parallel to the equator, but they measure your distance north or south. So, if you're on a latitude line, everyone else on that same line is at the same distance from the equator as you are. The measurement is done in degrees, and it's quite straightforward. From the equator at 0 degrees, you can go all the way up to 90 degrees north, which is the exact spot of the North Pole. It's the very top of our world ladder. Similarly, if you head in the opposite direction, you can go all the way down to 90 degrees south, which marks the South Pole, the bottom of the ladder. Every degree can be broken down into smaller units called minutes and seconds for even more precise locations, which is vital when you're trying to find a tiny island in a vast ocean. It's this level of detail that makes latitude so powerful for navigation. One of the most important things to remember about latitude is how it affects climate. Locations near the equator, at low latitudes like 0 to 23.5 degrees, are generally hot and tropical because they get the most direct sunlight all year round. This is where you find the world's incredible rainforests, teeming with amazing wildlife. As you move to higher latitudes, further north or south, the climate gets cooler. The mid-latitudes are where you find temperate seasons, spring, summer, autumn, and winter. And at the highest latitudes, near 90 degrees north and south, you find the icy polar regions, home to hardy creatures like polar bears and penguins. So, to put it simply, latitude tells you how far north or south you are from the equator. The equator is 0 degrees, the North Pole is 90 degrees north, and the South Pole is 90 degrees south. These lines circle the globe like rungs on a ladder, and they never, ever meet. They are always parallel to each other, which is why they are sometimes called parallels. Understanding this is the first half of mastering the Earth's grid. Next up, we'll look at the lines that run in the other direction and complete our global address book. Now that we've got latitude sorted, let's tackle longitude. If latitude lines are the rungs of a ladder, think of longitude lines as slices of an orange. These lines run from top to bottom, from the North Pole to the South Pole. They are not parallel like latitude lines. Instead, they all meet at 2 points, the very top and the very bottom of the world. These lines, also known as meridians, help us measure how far east or west we are. But east or west of what? We needed a starting line, a 0 point, just like the equator is for latitude. It's a crucial reference for all navigation. For a long time, different countries used their own starting points, which was incredibly confusing for sailors and map makers. Imagine trying to read a map where the starting line kept changing. Finally, it was agreed that the starting line, 0 degrees longitude, would be an imaginary line running through a place called Greenwich in London, England. This is called the prime meridian. From this line, we measure our position either east or west around the globe. This decision created a single unified system for the entire world, making global navigation and mapping consistent for everyone, everywhere. The measurement of longitude also works in degrees. From the prime meridian at 0 degrees, you can travel 180 degrees to the east or 180 degrees to the west. Unlike latitude, which stops at 90, these two 180-degree lines meet on the opposite side of the planet, forming a line called the International Date Line. This is where one day officially ends and the next one begins. So as you cross this line, you can literally jump from today into tomorrow or back into yesterday. Longitude isn't just about location. It's directly linked to time zones, which is why it's noon in one place and midnight in another. So here is a quick comparison to make it crystal clear. Latitude, or parallels, run east-west. They measure distance north or south of the equator, which is 0 degrees. These lines are parallel and never meet, and they range from 0 to 90 degrees north or south. Longitude, or meridians, run north-south. They measure distance east or west of the prime meridian, which is 0 degrees. These lines meet at the north and south poles, and they range from 0 to 180 degrees east or west. So, how do you find these coordinates on a real map? It's easier than you think. First, find the numbers running up and down the sides of the map. These are for latitude. Then find the numbers running along the top and bottom. These are for longitude. To find a city's latitude, place your finger on the city and move it horizontally to the side of the map to read the number. To find its longitude, move your finger vertically up or down to the top or bottom of the map. The point where these two imaginary lines cross is your location's unique address on the Earth's grid. Let's take a look at a real-world example. Say we want to find the coordinates for the magnificent city of Tokyo, Japan. If you look at a world map, you'll see Tokyo is north of the equator and east of the prime meridian. Following the lines, you'll find its latitude is approximately 35 degrees north. Then, looking at the top or bottom scale, you will find its longitude is about 139 degrees east. So, the coordinates for Tokyo are 35 degrees north, 139 degrees east. With just those two numbers, you can pinpoint its exact location on a globe. This system works for any place, from a massive city to a tiny remote research station in Antarctica. Of course, in today's world, we have some incredible technology that does the hard work for us. Your smartphone has a built-in global positioning system, or GPS. This amazing bit of kit communicates with satellites orbiting our planet to figure out your exact latitude and longitude in seconds. Online tools like Google Maps or other mapping apps use this same coordinate system. When you drop a pin on a map to share a location, you are actually sending its latitude and longitude coordinates. This technology has revolutionized travel, safety, and exploration, making navigation accessible to everyone. But even with all this brilliant tech, understanding the basics of latitude and longitude is a vital skill. It helps you appreciate how navigation works and gives you a backup if your gadgets fail when you're out in the wild. This grid system is the foundation of all modern mapping and a beautiful, logical way of charting our world. It's the language of explorers, past and present. By understanding it, you're not just reading a map, you're connecting with a history of discovery and unlocking the ability to navigate our incredible planet. Keep exploring.